Citi Field in New York. The New York Mets play the Cincinnati Reds. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Cadillac. Visit CadillacTristate.com for exceptional offers. By MTA Bridges and Tunnels. Cashless tolling is here. Get Easy Pass today to save up to 50% on tolls. By Planet Fitness. Join Planet Fitness today and celebrate their 25th anniversary for only 25 cents down and $10 per month. Hurry. Offer ends September 13th. And by Geico. Over 75 years of savings and service. You know, Mr. Met is everywhere. Mrs. Met is some places, but Mr. Met, he's everywhere. Sometimes he hides in the weeds. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the second game of their four-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. You know, about 3 weeks ago, we did an in-game interview with Brandon Nimmo and asked him all about his adjustment to being a guy coming off the bench. He'd done a great job as a pinch hitter. Well, everything's changed for Nimmo. Now he's getting a chance to play every day and proving his worth in that role.
Well, he's had a couple times up here. He's been up since late July, and he has done a heck of a job here. His bat has come alive. He's always been a guy that provides energy to this ball club. He runs to first base on a walk. He's always got a smile on his face, and he draws a lot of walks. Last night was his first multi-home run ball game. His last 22 games, he's scored 15 runs and 12 RBIs. He is making the most of his opportunity since being in the starting lineup every day.
Becoming a fixture in left field, batted cleanup last night. He'll bat second tonight. Meanwhile, Seth Lugo goes to the mound, and last start for Lugo, typical of a lot of his starts this year, 5 really good innings and then 1 bad one in the 6th.
You know, when you think about it, he did his best pitching in March during the World Baseball Classic for Puerto Rico. Since that time, he's been really compromised by a bad right elbow. So he is going to be limited to the same kind of pitch count that Matt Harvey was last night, 75 to 85 pitches.
And on the other side for the Reds, an interesting story. Left-hander Amir Garrett, the former St. John's basketball player, comes back to Queens.
I'm really looking forward to watching Amir pitch. 5 of his first 6 starts, 2 earned runs or less, and then it went all sideways. But his last start in AAA was a good one with double-digit strikeouts. Maybe we'll see more of that tonight.
Mets have beaten the Reds 7 straight times at Citi Field. They try and make it 8 tonight. Mets and Reds at Citi Field. All the action coming your way on SNY. returns to Citi Field September 15th through the 17th for 3 unforgettable nights of music. The star-studded lineup includes Jay-Z, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Gorillaz, Future, Nas, Weezer, and more.
Really?
Purchase tickets at themeadowsnyc.com. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Those are the facts between these two teams this year. Reds won 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati last week, and the Mets took the opening game of the series last night. And Brandon Nimmo has made his impact. How much more of an impact can he make tonight? Mets try for their 3rd straight victory. Hi, Gil. That's the Hodges gate.
Yes.
First pitch is coming right up. Gets the night off, so Jose Peraza will play shortstop. Tucker Barnhart behind the plate after Stuart Turner caught last night. Otherwise, the same unit for the Reds, who are 5th in the National League in runs scored, 4th in home runs. A formidable lineup to go up against Seth Lugo tonight.
But you see the Land Rover numbers above and beyond for Seth Lugo. Started out the season 5-2 with a good ERA, in good shape, and pitching well, but has struggled of late.
And your Metropolitan Lexus infield defense, Dominic Smith. Just noticed 26th start at first base. Just seems like he was called up yesterday. The season's gone by so fast.
When did we start putting the catcher in the corner? Nobody puts the catcher in the corner.
And the outfield, Travis Tyrone gets a start out in right field. They beat me to that. I knew that was his 5th start in right. And Juan and Nimmo, of course, have been playing tremendously and deserve to be starting every day. And there's Tyrone.
How could they not assume that you knew it was the 5th start for Tyrone?
Looks like I wrote it down.
Oh, no. How could our graphics people not assume?
I don't know.
I don't think they were challenging his knowledge. I think they were supporting him.
Oh, okay.
They knew that he knew, and so they were making sure that they graphically supported what Keith was about to say.
I'm going to ask him with no one around. We'll see what
But
happens.
seriously, though, does it really feel like Dominic Smith has started as a his 26th start at first base.
That's right.
So like he's just been called up.
Well, he's starting every day. It's the 5th straight day that Ahmed Rosario has not started. The good news is Rosario took some swings in the cage today. Looked pretty good doing that. They're a little more concerned about his throwing than about his swinging with the bruise to his right index finger, but hopefully he should be ready to play in a day or two.
Oh, it's a prime time for these guys to play this extra month, longer than the minor league season.
Phillip Ervin getting time in center field right now with both Billy Hamilton and Jesse Winker on the shelf. Winker, first-round draft pick, who played for about a month for the Reds before he got hurt, should be back in a few days. So Ervin getting a crack right now, and he had a good night last night. Was on base 3 times and drove in a run with a double. Lugo's first pitch of the night is on the way, and a swing and a miss by Ervin, and we're underway. Ervin, 25-year-old out of Samford University, first-round pick by the Reds in 2013. Hitting .400 through his first 25 big league at bats. And Lugo catches the knees with the fastball, and it's 0-2. Lugo, on the other hand, a 34th round draft pick out of Centenary College in 2011. 34th round pick made good. And the curveball is fouled off. We haven't seen him throw a lot of curveballs early in games. That might be a little change of a game plan. Jose Peraza hitting second in the order. He's on deck, and then Joey Votto for the Reds.
Watch Lugo pause when he brings his hands to his waist. That's a little different than before.
And he just misses outside, 1-2. Dan Bellino is the home plate umpire tonight.
A little chilly tonight, a little wind blowing.
Two and two to Ervin leading off. And the curveball belted to left. Nimmo coming over, diving, and he makes the catch. Brandon Nimmo timed that perfectly. And the first out of the game is a highlight film catch by Brandon Nimmo.
Well, he starts out in the gap, has to run a long way for this ball, all stretched out there, laid out on the grass. That saved a double right there. Well done.
This is Disney's Angels in the outfield, all coming back again. Everything going right for Nimmo.
It's really interesting. During Terry Collins' pregame press conference tonight, he was asked about Brandon Nimmo and what has impressed him about Brandon. Here's Jose Peraza. And the first thing that Terry talked about was Nimmo's defense. He said he thought his defense had improved a lot since last year when he first saw him at the big league level.
Well, there he is making a fine play.
Jose Peraza, who first signed with the Braves, then was traded to the Dodgers, then to the Reds. Just 23 years old. He played a lot early this year, but with the emergence of Scooter Gennett, his playing time has shriveled. This one's lifted to center, and Lagares eases back a couple of strides. 2 balls in the air, 2 outs for Lugo to start the night.
Well, in a strange way for Peraza is that Kozart got hurt a couple of times, so he had to go over to the shortstop, which allowed Gennett to get some starts at second base, and that's where Scooter won the job.
And then when Kozart came back, Peraza had no place to play. But he's had over 400 at-bats this year, so he certainly had plenty of playing time. Well, here's Votto with the bases empty. Votto 1 for 4 last night. And interestingly enough, lately, this has been a place where Votto has had his struggles. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it off. Last 10 games Joey's played at Citi Field, he's got 5 for 32 with no home runs.
Very crouched in his stance from the waist down. His upper body is upright. Look how much he's bent at the knees. And that big choke up for all you kids. We mentioned it last night. All the hitters, the quality hitters in baseball, choking up. Well, here's a guy right here, one of the best. And that's a good 2, almost 3-inch choke up.
Gets this one in the air to center field. Plenty of room for Lagares. 3 up, 3 down for Lugo in the opening inning. That's come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score.
let them make you frown. Life is good if you're wearing a smile. This time is the right time, and the next time is the right time. Life is good if you're wearing a smile.
Well, a former Met manager was once described as lighting up a room, but Brandon Nimmo can clearly light up a ballpark with his smile.
Yes, he can.
Life is but a musical for Nimmo right now.
Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup. Nimmo hitting second. Juan Lagares, first time in his career he's been asked to hit third in the batting order. Travis d'Arnaud again hits cleanup. Travis Tyrone gets a start in right field. As Drupal Cabrera out of the lineup tonight because of a glute strain, and so Gavin Cecchini gets a start.
See the Toyota numbers for Amir Garrett. 5 of his first 6 starts this year, 2 earned runs or less. It went sideways, but he just had a big start in AAA. Struck out 10.
First pitch taken low by Jose Reyes, who's hitting .375 over his last 14 games. Reyes, Nimmo, and Lagares for the Mets against Garrett, who's facing the Mets for the first time. Pitching out of the stretch. A semi no windup delivery. It's grounded down to third where Suarez handles it and throws on Reyes for the first out.
Coors Light defense for the Reds. Votto the Gold Glover at first. Gary mentioned Peraza giving Zach Cozart a spell at short. In the outfield, the same starters as yesterday. And there's your Reds. It's a far cry from the Red Machine.
And here's Nimmo coming off the best night he's had in his big league career and still smiling about it. Came into last night with 2 career home runs and doubled that in 2 innings. And he takes a fastball strike. 3 for 18 against left-handers so far this year.
Well, he's had sporadic play against lefties. When you don't play every day against him, it makes it difficult.
Here, Garrett, 25 years old, grew up in Nevada, where he played high school ball against the likes of Bryce Harper and Joey Gallo and that whole gang. But he was introduced to basketball as a freshman in high school, wound up going to St. John's on a basketball scholarship, played 2 years for the Red Storm, then transferred closer to home to Cal State Northridge to play for Reggie Theus, but he never did, and gave up basketball to concentrate full-time on baseball, which he had been plying his trade at as a minor league pitcher for the Reds, but only for 3 months a year.
That's a foul. Jesus, Tom Heinsohn right there.
And one. And one.
Wow.
Give him a Mendy Rudolph.
Back when South Florida was in the Big East.
Yeah, I don't get the conferences anymore.
Neither do I. To me, it's
a little mixed up.
It's mixed up, and the Big East was such a great basketball league,
and still is, Keith. National champions 2 years ago, Villanova Wildcats.
Yep, you're right.
3-2 to Nimmo with Lagares on deck. And it's inside ball 4. Nimmo continues to get on base. Started the night with a .416 on base percentage, and he's on with 1 out in the first. So for Garrett, he made a terrific rise to get to the big leagues this year, but after a very impressive beginning, as Ronnie mentioned, he kind of settled back into a difficult pattern of giving up walks and home runs, but a lot of that was because of a hip injury, and they think that Garrett has smoothed out his delivery because his hip is now healed and he's throwing harder than he was earlier this year. Here's Lagares, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike.
It's a nice little breaking ball. That'll do. Fastball location, we've yet to see it. Have not seen any change of pace.
And the fastball grounded to third. Chance for 2. Tough turn for Jeanette and a wide throw, and Lagares arrives safely. Suarez did not give Jeanette a good feed, and so they get just the 1 out.
When you throw that ball from down at 6 o'clock, like a bowling ball. It sinks into the runner. Watch him here. Instead of coming over the top, he throws sidearm, and that makes the ball bleed into the runner. And that makes Jeanette very uncomfortable and throws him out of his sink. And that should have been a tailor-made double play. Twas not.
And so the inning continues with Lagares at first and 2 out for Travis d'Arnaud. 4th time Travis has hit cleanup. He's been swinging the bat better on this homestand. And he's forced to move his feet on the fastball from Garrett. And you can see already what they said is true. Garrett is throwing harder than he did. His average fastball velocity in the big leagues was 91.3. That last one at 95.
Well, he is very unrefined, and you can see right now he's all over the place with his fastball. So as a hitter, you can't get a feel for what he's trying to do. I mean, he's trying to do something. The catcher's calling the pitches, calling the corners, and he can't put it there. So as a hitter, you just got to go up there and see the ball and hit it, because he may throw one on the outside corner, he means it in, or vice versa.
Behind on d'Arnaud, 2-0. And Travis strokes one toward right center field, cutting over his Schebler to get there, and that retires the side. But Travis again driving the ball to right center, which is what he's been trying to do. He'll score after 1. McDonald's Family Sunday. The Mets take on the Reds at 1:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Mets fidget spinner presented by PC Richard & Son. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Med Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Adam Duvall leads off the second against Seth Lugo. Duvall 0 for 3 last night, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. Mets play 3 infielders on the left side against Duvall. One of 5 Reds in the lineup who has 24 or more home runs.
He has 31 to be exact. And has driven in 94 runs,
which leads the Reds 1 more than Joey Votto. Yeah, it's grounded foul.
That's Billy Hatcher down there, third base coach for the Reds.
Former Astros center fielder.
Couldn't get to Lenny Dykstra's off the bench leadoff triple. Billy.
World Series 1990.
Good man.
750.
He's a good man.
Duvall carves one down to first, and Smith is alone on that right side. Lugo gets over to cover for the first out. And now Scooter Gennett. So you mentioned Billy not being able to catch Lenny's fly ball. You didn't mention his home run in the 14th inning.
That was
the same game.
Off of Big Jesse.
Right into the netting.
Right into the netting.
On the left field line. 14th inning in the Astrodome.
Quite a game.
Game 6, National League Championship Series, 1986.
Who got the base hit that drove in the go-ahead run for us that before his home run? That would have been the hero of the game. Would have won the pennant for us.
Don't recall.
And he pulled it. Wally. Line drive over Doran's head at second base.
That's right. Doran kind of
it was a bullet.
His leap.
But it was a bullet.
Yeah.
It was a bullet. Wally would have been the hero.
You were all heroes, as it turned out. Scooter Gennett hitting .458 in September. Grounds the curveball foul, and it's 0-2. Well, that was the game. Bob Nepper shut the Mets out for the first 8 innings.
3-hitter, right? Over 8.
But then the rally, and Keith was a big part of that in the 9th.
Yep. Lenny started it off. I remember sitting on the bench, folks, and Davey put Lenny up there, and I said, what's he doing? Nepper's nasty on left-handers. Well, Davey was that kind of manager. He played a hunch.
Well, in Lenny's book, he said that when Davey came down to say, hey, Lenny, you're going to lead off and hit, Lenny said in his book, he said, oh, now you're trying to win.
You know what?
That sounds like something you'd say.
I call, you know what?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's the thing. You mentioned that Hatcher couldn't get to Lenny's ball. You didn't mention that he couldn't get to your ball.
Yeah, but my ball short hopped the wall in the gap in right center. 396, brother.
So you're saying nobody could have gotten that.
That's right. Well, if he was playing me straight up, he played Lenny way in opposite field.
Right.
If I recall. That got the ball rolling, did it not?
Gennett hits the curveball out to left field. Lazy fly ball for Nimmo. And Lugo's retired the first 5. A lot of curveballs in this game from Seth, who has not used that pitch early in games nearly as much as maybe he should.
Well, with a compromised elbow, sometimes you try to protect against using certain pitches, but you know, if you're going to go out there, you know, you can't pitch guarded or safely. You have to let it all hang out.
Here's Eugenio Suarez, who was 0 for 4 last night. And the slider off the plate for ball 1. Well, the pattern for Lugo is that he's been good early in games and has struggled third time around the batting order. And Terry Collins made the point tonight that with that partial tear in his ulnar collateral ligament, it could well be that 70, 75 pitches 2 times through the batting order is the limit for Lugo to be effective right now.
We see a lot of pitchers in the major leagues a third time through the order, and I think it's a little something more. I think that the fact that they're not required to go 9, that they go 6, 7 innings, that's part of the reason that they begin to get down in that little red zone in the fuel tank.
Well, and maybe that will let you know that maybe moving forward, Lugo's effectiveness might be out of the bullpen as a long man every third day or so when you need him.
Be perfect, and back in the day of the doubleheader, he'd be your swing guy. So that second game of the doubleheader.
Scott Schebler would be next. 2-2 to Suarez, and the curveball struck him out. Inning over. First strikeout for Lugo. He's set down the first 6. Strong start for Seth. There's that high RPM curveball. As good as octane. On a beautiful night in New York. Travis Tyrone leads off against Amir Garrett and takes a fastball for a strike. Tyrone making his 5th start, hitting 5th in the order, which makes him the 15th different Met to bat 5th this year. Most times hitting in the 5 spot for the Mets this year, 30 by Lucas Duda, who will be back at Citi Field in the home clubhouse on Monday.
That was Locker back.
One would presume, right?
Why not?
The Rays and the Yankees will be playing a 3-game series at Citi Field. Tyrone drives one deep left field toward the wall. It's out of here. Travis Tyrone with his first major league home run. A line shot. Home runs were the stock in trade for Travis Tyrone in the minor leagues.
25.
He hit 135 of them in his minor league career, and now his first in the majors.
That's the one that he'll never forget.
Crushed it.
Down fastball, and Garrett. That is his 20th home run given up this season. And only how many innings? 59 innings. Good Lord.
Well, that baseball has been saved for posterity for Travis Tyrone. Waited till age 28 to get to the big leagues and now has his first major league home run.
Another right-hand hitter who likes that ball down. He jumped all over this fastball. That's a crush. Orange crush.
That Mets home run means $2,000, enough for No Kid Hungry to provide 20,000 meals courtesy of Citi.
Get a smile on your face.
We're all smiling now.
I think he was getting a little high five from Philip Evans, who was the new Met.
Just called up today. Dominic Smith draws a 4-pitch walk on the heels of Tyrone's home run. And that will draw Garrett a trip from Tucker Barnhart, whom the Reds really value as a defender and as a pitcher whisperer.
Oh. Well, Garrett in his last start in AAA struck out 10. He had a start, his 3rd one this year, where he struck out 12. So that's not by accident. He has good stuff. It's just not refined yet.
Well, and the result has been too many walks and way too many home runs. In fact, Garrett has given up home runs at a higher rate than any pitcher in baseball this year, now more than 3 per 9 innings, which is not good. 20 home runs and 59 in the 3rd. Gavin Cecchini had 1 at bat last night, and he grounds this one down to 3rd. Might be 2. Comes up for Suarez. Better throw this time. Jeanette not able to turn it over, though, as Cecchini beats the play at first base.
They're going to check that at first base.
Marvin Hudson made the call, and we'll see if the Reds challenge it.
This is the thing. You got to sit here. It's tailor-made. You got to wait for them to make their decision. Not much on the throw. A little too long on the throw from Jeanette, and he's safe.
Good call.
The 2nd straight inning that the Reds have had a chance for a 5-4-3 double play and have not turned it. And
nice hustle.
No challenge. So that's the first out of the inning. And now Matt Reynolds is playing 3rd base and batting 8th in the order. Reynolds was on base 3 times via walks last night. Cecchini at first with 1 out.
Almost took Votto's hat off with that throw at first.
Reynolds sporting those are white shoes. All the way around, solid white.
Like you in the All-Star game.
Look at that. I wouldn't be covering those up with my pant leg. I tell you that. I'd be showing them off.
Now imagine Those white shoes contrasted with gold and green socks. Yes, Ronnie in the mid-90s.
Oh, that's right. I like the uniform.
Took me forever to get used to pitching with white shoes, and I'd worn white spikes when I was a kid for some teams, but I never pitched when I was a kid.
I like the A's. You know, when they had the sleeveless top, the jersey top.
It was like
with that Kelly green. It was really it stood out nice.
Late '60s, maybe early '70s. They had the sleeveless.
Yes, they wore them in Kansas City too.
Yes. Well, you wear white shoes on a field in New York. You're always going to be compared to Joe Namath.
Correct.
Cicchini runs. The throw by Barnhart is in time to get him. Barnhart, who has thrown out as good a percentage as anybody in Major League Baseball, gets Cicchini in his first stolen base attempt of the season.
Quickest release maybe in baseball. I don't know if he tagged him, did he? Maybe
he got him on the arm.
Got him. He got him. Good call.
Well, we definitely got him. He's O-U-T.
Jeanette with the tag. 2-4 on the caught stealing for the second out. And now a full count to Reynolds.
Mets are trying to steal more in the last couple of weeks.
12 steals in the last 14 games, and even with that, the Mets are still dead last in the league in steals.
Oh.
Suarez struggling with the bubble. Can he get it in?
Don't get it caught. That's it. Get it in.
Sliced out to right. Schebler toward the line, and he puts it away to retire the side. But Travis Tyrone's first big league home run gives the Mets the lead, 1-0 after 2.
Known for their calm demeanor. You're going to be fine.
You're going to die.
Yeah.
It's humor like that that has made Impractical Jokers the enormous hit that it is, and we're so fortunate that Steve Gelbs is here with the brains behind Impractical Jokers. Steve?
Yeah, 2 of the 4, Murr and Q. James Murray, Brian Quinn. Am I allowed to call you guys by your nicknames, even though we just met?
Yeah, we're friends now.
All right. Thank you. This show is, it's so funny. And for those who haven't seen it, we just showed a little clip of the punishment involving Noah. But give a quick synopsis for those out there.
Well, the 4 of us in the show are best friends since high school. And what happens is one of us will wear an earpiece. We go out into the field, and the other 3 guys are in the back telling him everything he has to say and do. And if you don't do it, if you refuse to do something, you get punished at the end of the episode in some horribly embarrassing way.
How did you guys come up with the idea for this?
We just figured we wanted to take our friendship and make that kind of the focus. And this is kind of what we did to each other all the time anyway. So it was kind of natural. It wasn't really that hard.
Was it something that was difficult at all to sell initially to networks, or people wanted it right off the bat?
See, when you've got sex appeal like we do, but I mean the networks.
I shouldn't have even asked.
We are oozing something. You know?
Well, actually, I took some pills and I cleared that up. So it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
It was a tough sell, but I tell you, people responded to our friendship mostly when they saw.
That being said, I mean, you said it was a tough sell initially. So are you surprised at all by the level of success? You're in year 6 right now, and I mean, it was hard just to get you guys right here. Everybody's shouting out to you.
It was wild. I don't think we ever really planned on it going like this big or this long, right?
No, I mean, you can't. You'd be insane to think that people like something as much as the love that we're getting. So I always try not to look at it too hard because then it'll run away type thing.
I know the Syndergaard episode is not aired yet, but how did that punishment go? How did he handle it?
Noah was a great sport. He really was a great sport. What we did was we had him signing baseballs for fans at the beginning before our game, and Joe was in the audience, and every time he'd throw a ball out, Joe would grab the ball before anyone else did. So he snatched balls from kids, poor children crying. It was just Noah kept throwing.
It got wild, yeah.
All right, so that leads me to this then. I mean, you said it got wild. There are people that would be very upset by that. Do you guys need security in the wings on standby just in case any of these get going too far?
We weren't doing it, so no. We didn't ask for security. We figured it was his problem.
But in general, have you had any crazy people that got really, really out of hand almost?
Noah, I think. No, that's we try to elicit laughter and confusion more than getting people angry. The joke's on us in our show, not vice versa.
Is there one particular joke, segment, punishment that stands out to you guys over time?
Oh, man, after all these years, it's kind of hard to just... I had to teach my parents sex ed, and that always goes back to me as the one that I'd never want to repeat.
Yeah. I had to pose nude in front of my high school sweetheart, and everyone's America's sweetheart, Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years. Yeah. Never thought that would happen.
All right, on that note, you can tell it's a family program on True TV on Thursday nights at 10 o'clock, right? Guys, thank you so much for the time. This has been really fun.
Come to our show at Madison Square Garden. You better be there, okay?
Absolutely. You'll get me the tickets, right?
It's absolutely. I know a guy.
Steep discount, my friend.
All right, guys, back up to you in the booth.
All right, Steve, thank you. And thanks to the Impractical Jokers. Amir Garrett with the sacrifice, moving Tucker Barnhart down to second. Barnhart, the first base runner against Lugo, who had retired the first 7. And so with 2 out, Phillip Ervin will come up with a runner at second.
That interview, Keith, opened up some new avenues for us here in the booth. That was outstanding.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I didn't know that we could go there. That's.
I stepped out. I missed it.
Oh, you did. You stepped out. That was your impractical joke on them. I think they're Staten Island guys. Cool.
Here's Phillip Ervin, who hit a line drive that Brandon Nimmo made a diving catch on to start the game. Barnhart at second and 2 out. Grounded past the mound. Reyes to his left. And he guns down Ervin to end the inning. Lugo gives up his first hit, but emerges unscathed. We go to the bottom of the third, 1-0 New York. MVP 2010, who was the last Red to win the award before him. I think I know this one.
You know it.
Seth Lugo leads off for the Mets in the bottom of the third. Mets with a 1-0 lead thanks to Travis Tyrone's first big league home run. Here's Lugo again, off to another fast start in the game. Had 5 scoreless innings before he cracked in Houston, and he's thrown 3 scoreless already today. Seth has 3 hits this year. They've all been extra base hits, 2 doubles and a home run.
And, you know, you'll hear some talk, hey, he's pitching against the Reds. They don't have a very good record, but it's not their offense that's been the issue. Their offense, they have a good lineup.
Yes, they do.
Even with Cozart out of it.
Well, think of it this way. The Reds are 19 games under 500, but they've scored the 5th most runs in the National League. And it's not just a function of their ballpark, because their home road numbers are actually pretty close. It was a good breaking ball by Garrett, and it's 1-2. Well, the starting pitchers have been, well, they've been young and they've been unsuccessful.
Yeah.
They've used 9 different rookie starters, including Garrett. And he gets Lugo with a high breaking ball for his first strikeout of the night.
Well, what happens if you're a team like Cincinnati? It's not like you can go out and get huge free agents, so they're really trying to have these young pitchers who probably should be in the minor leagues learning on the major league level.
And some of them might have a chance to be pretty good.
I agree.
But it's very early in their development. And it hasn't helped that the one veteran they have in their rotation, Homer Bailey, has had a very difficult year.
The only issue is that you got to have a good constitution, because you're going to take a beating out there, and can you take that beating and improve on the major league level without getting your dauber down?
Well, you know, you go back to the greatest sustained level of success in pitching over the last 30 years. That was the Atlanta Braves,
right.
And all those guys took their knocks to begin their career.
Well, Maddox, well,
Glavine, Maddox. Reyes drives one deep left field, headed toward the wall, and that's out of here. Jose Reyes, home run number 11. The Mets with their second solo home run of the night, and it's 2-0 New York.
Well, Jose still got the fast bat.
So Garrett's home run difficulties continue.
Another one up and down the middle, and the difficulties are a result, Gary, the fact that he can't get his breaking ball over with any consistency, so he's got to come with that fastball.
So here's Nimmo, who walked his first time up.
Well, Reyes just uncoiled on that one.
11th home run, 4th as a right-hand batter. So I got a trivia question that nobody will get. All right, last night Nimmo hit 2 home runs out of the cleanup spot.
okay.
As a rookie. Only one other Met has ever hit 2 home runs in a game out of the cleanup spot as a rookie. And if I gave you, I don't know, 1,000 guesses, which is more players than the Mets have had in their history, you probably wouldn't get it.
I read it, so I know it, and I would have never got it, ever. I don't even know who the player is, honestly.
Nimmo strikes out for the second out. The answer to the question is 1963 at the Polo Grounds, July the 11th. This catcher hit 2 home runs against Don Drysdale. His name was Jesse Gonder.
Jesse Gonder, left-hand hitter.
And he played parts of a few seasons with the Mets. And
then he went to the Cubs.
And the Pirates.
Yeah,
he bounced around. But yeah, Jesse Gonder was the only other Met rookie to bat cleanup and hit 2 home runs in a game. And against Drysdale.
Well,
I'd like to know what that next game was like for Gonder against Drysdale.
I wonder if Drysdale dropped him.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what Ronnie was implying.
Right. I mean, you only had 2 at bats.
Lagares grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. And off balance on that swing. Here's your Spectrum high-speed pitch. (96-95), like a basketball score. Fouled off the leg of Lagares, 2-2.
21 home runs given up now by Garrett. 59 innings. 59 2/3. Oh boy. Be a little disheartening. No, more than 59. 60. Excuse me.
Two to Lagares, and he struck him out with a fastball away. 97 from Garrett, who struck out 3 in the inning, but in between, Jose Reyes hits the Mets' second home run of the night. Number 11 on the year for Reyes, his 100th as a Met, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead as we go to the 4th at Citi Field. MLB season is on Nintendo Switch. RBI Baseball 2017 is filled with fast-paced pick-up-and-play MLB action, packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and much more. Get RBI Baseball today for Nintendo Switch. Learn more at rbigame.com. Jose Peraza up for the second time. Flied out to center field his first time up. Seth Lugo now with a 2-0 lead, and Peraza takes one the other way for a leadoff hit. Just the second hit against Lugo tonight. That'll bring up Joey Votto, who talked before the game tonight with Steve Gelbs about his changed routine.
I think as you get older, you have only so many swings in your body each day. You have only so many ground balls, so many throws before you really pay for it the following couple days. So I have to work more efficiently. I have to work smarter. I have to make sure that every time I do something, there's not only purpose, but it's effective. And that comes with time. I was lucky when I was younger. I could take a few hundred swings per day and still roll out there and feel fresh for the game. Whereas now, if I take a few hundred swings, I won't be fresh until October.
Well, Peraza is balked to second as Lugo just had a brain cramp there.
He just turned to throw and didn't throw the ball.
Votto's thoughts with a quote of the game presented by Investors Bank, banking in your best interest.
So he turns to throw and then doesn't throw.
Oh my goodness.
Now, was there something that could have spooked him, or did he see something that made him hesitate?
I think the brain cramp you said was appropriate.
I mean, that was the move of somebody who turns and doesn't see the first baseman at first base.
Exactly.
Or maybe thought he stepped off or stepped back, but he did not.
2-0 to Votto, who will not go out of the strike zone often. And now 3-0. 117 walks for Votto this year versus 72 strikeouts. By far the greatest walk to strikeout differential in the majors this year. It's strike 3-1. Joey will turn 34 years of age on Sunday, and there you see next best is +6 and he's +45. And there's ball 4 and 118 walks and +46 now for Votto. And the Reds have the first 2 men on to the 4th. First walk given up by Lugo tonight.
When you have an eye like that, and I think about great hitters I faced who had great eyes, is that, or a great eye at the plate, you almost get, either you walk or you get a pitch to hit in every at bat, because that's how good you are in making sure you get the pitch that you want to swing at. You were like that, Keith. You know, you had a good eye.
Yes, but always aggressive and on the attack. And Votto got caught up in that walk thing for a while, and you know, pretty basically he got under a lot of criticism, Joey, because he walked so much, pretty much similar to the criticism that Ted Williams went through. That Ted wouldn't, they would say, okay, they were not great teams that Ted played on, and the greatest hitter as he was, Ted wouldn't swing at a pitch an inch outside, and saying you can make contact. They wanted him to swing.
All the great players. Barry Bonds got that criticism also.
Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs.
Heard that.
Yep.
1-0 to Duvall, who grounded out to first base his first time. And he takes a slider off the plate. Now Lugo's starting to fall behind in the count. Could that balk have unnerved him slightly?
It shouldn't have. I think with the Votto up, I mean, he walks so often. You know, you can't pitch to off the corners. He won't swing. Problem is that there's so many home run hitters in this lineup, including Duvall.
And Duvall lifts one to shallow left. Reyes out, Nimmo in, and Nimmo will take charge of it for the first out.
That's twice they pitched Duvall inside and tied him up.
So one away now, Scooter Gennett, who flied out to left his first time up. This is only the 14th start of the year for Seth Lugo. Remember, he missed the first 2 months of the season, trying to rehab his elbow. He misses with a curve outside. Came back, had a couple of decent starts, but has struggled lately.
Cross up there. That's why Darno went out. He was looking for a fastball and got the curveball.
Maybe instead of flashing signs, they could just use an Apple Watch.
There you go.
The time he was looking for the curveball and got it. 1-1.
A little loud.
Well, that's to make sure they pick up the signs.
There's an email sent. The volume wasn't high enough.
Peraza at second, Votto at first with 1 out. Lugo really slowing down the tempo here. And the changeup misses to Jeanette, 2-1.
So what has happened? You know, we're trying to explain why it's difficult for him second and third time through. So he has spent most of the time away, both right-handers and left-handers. So now he's getting through the lineup again, and these hitters, Jeanette and others, can eliminate the inside corner. Everything's middle away. When you can eliminate half the plate if you're a hitter, boy, playing right into their game.
Well, Jeanette, who has become a power hitter this season after being let go by Milwaukee, completely revamped his game at age 27. He's got a positive count here, and he lines one in the right field for a base hit. Peraza to third. He'll be held up there as Tyrone's throw is well offline, backed up by Lugo, but Peraza had long since slammed on the brakes. So Jeanette's base hit loads the bases with 1 out.
Well, you get in the fastball count. He wanted to throw that sinker down and away, and he got it over the middle.
You know, it's almost like Tyrone in right field. As you look at the swing from Jeanette, it's been pretty all season long. Saw that the runner was not going and kind of like eased up on the throw, and that's why it went off target so far. Always, I think, for outfielders, I was always told this, is that always make the correct hard throw, because you might have to do it later in the inning, you know? So it's almost like you're getting a practice throw.
Just at the cutoff man.
Yeah, with something on it.
So Lugo with a 2-0 lead, much in jeopardy now. Bases loaded, 1 out. And here's Eugenio Suarez, who struck out his first time up. Suarez gets jammed and fouls it back, 0-1.
That was a good pitch there. So the worst swings we've seen is that one by Suarez and the one by Duvall. Both pitches were up and in.
And he stays inside. A ball and a strike. I think that was the message Dan Warthen brought with him.
It would be interesting, yeah. It would really be interesting. Well, the goal is, though, Lugo with that little sinking fastball, something down is the key. You want him to hit a ground ball in turn 2.
Falling behind again here. It's not what you want to do. Your chances of success are getting out of dodge, or to keep continually doing it. Eventually they're going to get you.
And Suarez fouls back the fastball, 2-2. Suarez has had inordinate success with the bases full this year. 6 for 9 with 17 runs batted in the 9 official at bat.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's what I thought. It's been a pretty good bases loaded season for the Reds. Scooter Jeanette has 3 grand slams. 2-2 coming to Suarez, and he struck him out. Big strikeout for Lugo for the 2nd out of the inning.
We'll give the credit to all of them, Warthen, d'Arnaud, and Lugo, for the execution of the fastball in. A little cutter or maybe slider inside. Yeah, that's the slider grip.
Front doors out in front. The slider is not that much of a pitch that you take that much of a speed off, or a cutter to get you out in front. That's just not a recognition of a pitch.
So here's Scott Schebler with the bases loaded and 2 out. Schebler hit a grand slam against the Mets in Cincinnati, and he takes that slider off the plate for ball 1. Schebler struck out his first time up tonight, had a pair of doubles in the game last night. And the Mets have the full shift on against him, leaving the shortstop hole wide open. Peraza at third, Votto at second, Jeanette at first with 2 out. And Schebler grounds one foul. Got a Freddie Benavides. Former Red shortstop. Still has the hand.
Yeah, nice play. His coaches, they all determine the velocity of the ball before they decide to make a catch.
You don't want to make the attempt unless you're 99% sure. First base coach is not a good look. You can always just ignore it and let it go by. Line sharply. Cicchini with a beautiful pickup and gets the out. I'm not sure if he had his eyes open or closed, but the ball found the leather. And Cicchini takes a base hit away from Schebler. Line drive, bullet, head turned, ball in the glove. Whoa. Whatever works.
What did we just? What did we say when we were kids? Look what I found.
Nothing lead. Travis d'Arnaud leads off the Mets, and we check in inside baseball with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Gary, Cleveland Indians, hottest team in baseball by a long shot right now. 15 consecutive wins after their win yesterday. That's a franchise record, besting their 14 straight wins from a season ago. They become the first franchise to have back-to-back seasons with 14 or more wins since the 1935-1936 Chicago Cubs. They did a lot of it on the road, 11-0 road trip, a plus 81 run differential during the winning streak. But here's the kicker. This might be the most unbelievable part of this story. There was a local window company in Cleveland that in July put it out there that if the Indians won 15 straight games at any point the rest of the way, every sale in July would be rebated. They had to give back $1.7 million in sales from the month of July.
And they probably got more in publicity than that, and it worked out well for everybody. Lots of free windows.
I heard they took out an insurance policy too.
Good job. Well, here's another piece about that Indians winning streak. They're doing it without maybe the greatest weapon they had in the postseason last year, Andrew Miller. He hasn't participated at all. No Michael Brantley. Substantially no Danny Salazar.
Jason Kipnis.
No Jason Kipnis. And yet they're just on a phenomenal roll.
Well, they're getting some unbelievable pitching. Carrasco with a complete game 2 days ago. Kluber had what, 13 punch outs last night.
Mike Clevenger is pitching tonight. He's been great.
That's right.
They're up 3-0 in the fourth tonight against the Orioles. d'Arnaud hits the comebacker and Garrett snags it. 1 out. Well, the Indians with the 15 straight wins are closing in on the Astros for the best record in the American League, even though Houston's won 7 in a row. The Dodgers, of course, have taken a huge step back after that enormous couple of months. They've lost 12 of their last 13, still with a 10-game lead in the NL West. But those are the teams that would be in right now. The shocking one, of course, is the Twins, who lost 103 games last year and seemed to pack it in at the trading deadline. And, well, they may be packing for the postseason. There's Travis Tyrone, who hit his first big league home run his last time up.
Garrett right now, I've seen the changeup he's trying to throw. He is like the ticker tape machine. He is Western Union, really changing his motion, giving it away. Obviously his third pitch.
Yeah, when he tries to throw that changeup, even his breaking ball, Keith, he kind of dips a little lower.
Something's different than his fastball.
Yeah, he dips a little lower. He doesn't stand as tall. That's what gives it away.
So you telegraph, and the hitter knows you when the fastball's coming.
You know, that ticker tape usually comes with a sound effect. You know,
like the Sting?
Yeah.
It's my dad's old firehouse used to come in like that on the ticker tape. I never understood. He had to do it each fireman. I'm sure everybody, the firemen in New York, I'm sure it's the same thing. They had a night watch. They had to stay up all night.
Yeah.
Right.
Where everybody slept in case there was an alarm in the middle of the night. I remember when I was a little kid, it was like the old-fashioned, the guys looking at the tape rolling out. I asked Dad, how do you understand? And he didn't explain it too well.
It's sharply, but right at the shortstop, Peraza. And a low throw dug out by Votto for the second out.
Each job has its own language, right? But sometimes it's for others not to understand.
Well, in those days, I wonder whether it was it in word code or was it in Morse code?
I don't know. I can't remember, but it wasn't. I never understood it. I was very young.
Dominic Smith takes a slider for a strike.
All I remember was when Dad had the night watch, Mom would come to us and say, now your father's coming home. Go out and play. Let him take his nap. Don't come home till around 1 o'clock.
Go out and play in the traffic.
And how'd that work for you?
It was fine. We went out and played all.
Remember those days when you could just open your door and say, kids, go play, see you at dinner time?
Yeah, exactly.
0-2 to Smith. And he just got a piece of the fastball. 97 from Garrett, so they weren't kidding when they said his velocity is up since he came back from his hip injury.
That foul ball went underneath not only Barnhart, but the home plate umpire. You don't see that happen too often.
And Dom takes strike 3 called. So Garrett has his 4th strikeout in his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. We head for the 5th at Citi Field. The Mets up 2-0. savings. Go to buyfordnow.com. Well, Seth Lugo got out of a big jam in the 4th inning, thanks in part to the defensive gem by Gavin Cicchini that saved 2 runs. Now we'll face 8, 9, and 1 on the Reds batting order. Tucker Barnhart leads off in the 5th. Barnhart had a single to left field in the 3rd inning. And he takes the backdoor pitch outside, ball 1. The pitcher Garrett on deck, and then Phillip Ervin for the Reds in the 5th. Now that's rolled down to Smith. Easy play for Dom. 1 out. And now Garrett, who laid down a sacrifice bunt his first time up. He's got 1 career hit. He was 3 for 36 in his minor league career. Great athlete, not yet a good hitter. You know, Michael Jordan tried the whole hitting thing. It didn't work out for him.
In Birmingham, right?
With Terry Francona as his manager.
That's right. What Mike hit as a minor leaguer? In the 220s, 212s, like that?
2 O's.
Yeah, 2 O's.
It's pretty good when he came back to basketball.
He dropped a double nickel in Madison Square Garden. I remember watching that game. That's that good breaking ball from Lugo. Didn't he, on the final shot that everyone thought he was going to take, he passed off to a St. John's? Was it Bill Wennington for the winning basket in that game? I remember that game forever.
Well, unlike Amir Garrett, Bill Wennington never played in the major leagues. Reyes throws out Garrett 2 away, but there have been other St. John's basketball players who did. I don't know if were you here when Terry Bross pitched for the Mets?
Well, was I here? Every day in spring training, and we weren't supposed to. We played basketball.
Well, that was the strike year.
Yeah, every afternoon.
Right.
And I had to guard him every day. And he was every bit of 6'9", maybe 6'10".
Yeah, 6'9".
280.
He's a big guy. Terry pitched for the Mets and for the Giants. And there was another guy who played for St. John's for Joe Lapchick in the late 50s named Ted Schreiber, who was an infielder for the Mets in 1963. So Amir Garrett is not the first St. John's basketball player to make it to Major League Baseball.
Of course, there's a great history of basketball players that have played professional baseball. Just lost one this year, Gene Conley, who pitched and also played for the Celtics.
Dave DeBusschere.
Yep.
Dave DeBusschere, yes. Ron Reed.
Chuck Connors.
No.
Also the rifleman.
Yeah. More importantly,
yeah,
the rifleman. Was his son Mark on that show?
1-2, and Irvin pops it up. Should be easy for Smith. And a strong inning for Seth Lugo. He sets him down 1-2-3. 5 scoreless for Lugo and a 2-0 Met lead halfway through. Travis Tyrone's first big league home run. Jose Reyes is homered as well. Seth Lugo is taking care of the rest with 5 scoreless innings, and the Mets have a 2-0 lead. Gavin Cecchini will lead off in the bottom of the 5th against Amir Garrett.
Suarez giving him the bunt.
Cecchini hit into a force play his first time up. Matt Reynolds on deck, then the pitcher Lugo against Garrett, his first start in the big league since June. And the fastball fouled back, 1-1. So in Washington tonight, Michael Taylor of the Nationals hit an inside the park grand slam on a ball misplayed by Odubel Herrera. First inside the park grand slam in the majors since 2015, when Aaron Altair of the Phillies got an inside the park grand slam on a ball misplayed by Michael Taylor. Turnabout fair play.
Yeah, giveth and taketh. I see.
One-two to Cecchini, and he lifts one to left. Easy for Duvall. 1 out. City probables for the remainder of the series. Rafael Montero, who pitched a gem against the Reds in Cincinnati, will face them again, going up against Homer Bailey, who's had a dreadful year, but pitched pretty well against the Mets in that last series. Jacob deGrom tries again for win number 15 on Sunday against the rookie Sal Romano.
And Sal Romano, who's a big kid, had some moments of some good pitching in Cincinnati. You know, you were talking before about those Atlanta Braves pitchers and how they started a little slow in their career and then took off. I looked it up. Greg Maddux was 6-14 in his first full year. Tommy Glavine 7-17, and John Smoltz, when he got a taste, went 2-7 in 12 starts.
And they all survived nicely.
Yeah, they were pretty good after that.
Maddox with the Cubs just was a sinker slider, did not have that cutter, developed that cutter at that point. Glavine was a curveball sinker pitcher and hadn't developed the changeup. And the Smoltz had all the power stuff, he just didn't have the command. And they all sprouted, to say the least.
Two and one to Reynolds, who flied out his first time, and he swings at a high fastball, and Garrett comes up limping after that pitch. Something happened.
Oh boy.
Cramp?
Yeah, he's like pulling his toe back, like he's got a cramp in his calf or something. He's waving off the trainer, but once you do that, he's got to come out.
They're not going to take any chances with this kid. Just back from the minor leagues.
Let's see. So it's his push, his plant foot that he pushes off the rubber with. No, he's not going to.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he turned his ankle, right?
No, it definitely looked like he cramped up.
Yeah.
Yep.
From the way he reacted.
Yeah, the way he's trying to stretch it.
Yep.
Might be the calf. I'm speculating here. You know, when you get a tight calf, you get on the on the curve.
There you go. There's the
Yep.
calf.
Yep.
If I'm Brian Price, there's no way that I'd leave this kid in the game.
I mean, especially in September, you got 20 pitchers out there, whatever.
He's going to stay.
They're going to let him throw a warm-up pitch and see if he's all right.
They got no one up in that bullpen.
No, they don't have to if he comes out because of injury.
Well,
got all day.
Why isn't there a call down there to get someone up? Appears to be all right to me.
I mean, how many pitches are you going to take? I mean, 2 should be enough. Are you ready to go or no?
Another one? Is there? Okay, let's go.
He's still stretching out that leg. Boy, I'd be skeptical about this. Trainer's shaking his head as he comes off. That's not a good sign.
I mean, I think what you're saying, Gary, is at some point Brian Price and the trainer have to be the adult in the situation, right? Every athlete wants to stay out there and pitch, especially a guy who got sent to the minor leagues, and this is his shot to have a good September.
And as you guys say, it's September. You've got thousands of guys in that bullpen.
And they do have thousands of guys in that bullpen.
Well, here's the 2-2 to Reynolds, and he swings and misses at the changeup. And that's the second out of the inning. 5 strikeouts for Garrett, so he comes back from whatever befell him, cramp or otherwise.
Did you notice though, after he struck out, he leaped a little bit, like it's still cramping up. Trying to walk it off.
This is his last batter right here. And get the pitcher, and that's it.
Still nobody up in that Cincinnati bullpen.
That's amazing.
So here's Lugo, who struck out his first time up. And certainly plenty of folks in that little shed there. It gets a little crowded in there this time of year. Got a buddy up on the bench. Some guys got kicked out. They got to sit outside.
The Rook's got to sit outside.
Up the middle, Lugo's got a base hit, his 4th hit and his first single of the year. So after Garrett had retired 7 in a row, Lugo gets a 2-out hit. So now Reyes, who delivered a home run his last time up, his 11th of the year. Reyes started the season so slow, but he's finishing it on a high note.
You saw Lugo and Votto talking over there first. I remember whenever I would get an occasional hit, there weren't that many. Whenever I get the first baseman would always say the same thing. Boy, is that easy? I mean, you always get that. Oh, it's that easy? No, it's not that easy. I haven't had a hit for a month.
Reyes gets tied in a knot on the slider by Garrett, and it's 0-2. Brandon Nimmo would be next. Each team with 3 hits tonight, but the Mets have gotten the 2 solo home runs from Tyrone and Reyes. And Reyes drives this one to deep left field. Back goes Duvall at the wall. It's out of here. Jose Reyes with his 2nd home run of the night, a 2-run shot. Number 12 for Reyes. The Mets' 3rd home run of the night, and it's 4-0 New York.
Gave away the changeup back to back.
Well, he was trying to bounce it. That's what you had to do there, but he didn't.
No, he hasn't got command of that pitch. 22 home runs now, and counting. He picked that one off the ground. So Jose just zeroed in on the Western Union here. Nice hitting.
So a 2 home run game for Reyes and a 4-0 Met lead.
Went down and got it.
All the home run hitters have been traded, still hitting home runs.
Still lead the league in home runs. That's now with 205 home runs, which is the 2nd most they've ever had in a season. 218 last year was the club record.
I would love to see next Stratomatic season, this kid's Stratomatic card, how many the home runs on his card.
22 home runs in 63 innings. Wow. Amir Garrett.
He's still limping around out there. I'm very surprised he's out there.
For Reyes, by the way, his 10th career multiple home run game. He has had a 3 home run game in his career.
Now there's Jose right there. The ball around 6 inches off the ground, maybe a little more. I'm prone to exaggerate it sometimes.
Must be that odd shade of red at the top of his skull.
Oh, didn't even see that.
Scarlet? Would you call that?
You're asking the wrong guy, Keith.
I shall avert my eyes.
Full count to Nimmo. Reyes had a 2-home run game in LA earlier this year. And now 2 tonight. 3-2 to Nimmo, who had a 2-home run game last night. And he lines one the other way, and that's a base hit. So Garrett, after suffering the cramp, struck out Reynolds on the next pitch, but now has given up 3 straight 2-out hits since.
And they finally got someone at least soft tossing in the bullpen. Nice hitting, a little hanging slider. Mr. Nimmo going the other way.
Nimmo now 7 for 13 on this homestand. And Cody Reed, who was just called up the other day, getting himself ready.
No real sense of urgency.
Juan Lagares batting third in the order for the first time in his career, has gone 0 for 2 into a forced play and struck out. Garrett, a small forward during his basketball playing days, has been vulnerable to the 3-point shot tonight.
Yeah, he has. There's a lot of talent in there, though, Gary. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it out, but there's a lot of talent.
Popped it up, shallow right center. Schebler coming in to call, and that retires the side. But the Mets add 2 more runs on another Jose Reyes home run. Second long ball of the night for Jose. He's got a dozen for the year. And the Mets have a 4-0 lead as we go to the 6th at Citi Field. Sixth inning, Jose Peraza leads off against Seth Lugo. And here is the proving ground for Seth. Just as in his last start, he's thrown 5 scoreless innings to begin his outing. He couldn't get an out in the 6th the last time out. And this has been a recurring theme all year. Peraza drives one to left, but right at Nimmo reaches up to grab it for the first out. Third time through the order has been a big problem for Lugo all year. It's right about when he gets to this 70-75 pitch plateau. You see the numbers there. They're pretty stark.
You remember we used to say that occasionally about Dylan G. He would go where, you know, you say to yourself, boy, he's only at the 70 pitch mark. He should be in good shape. and it would just go, and it would go quickly.
Now, the caveat is you look at Lugo's numbers from last year, that wasn't a problem. Third time through, the batting order did not plague him. So Terry Collins' theory is that it has to do with the fact that he's got a less than whole elbow and that he's fading later in games because of that.
Yeah, he doesn't have the strength to power his way through. Let's see if he can do it tonight.
And to that end, the Mets have action going in the bullpen, even though he's got a 4-0 lead in the 6th. Votto takes a strike, 1-1.
And Peraza hit that ball right on the nose, almost carried over the head of Nimmo.
Votto has flied out and walked tonight. He's 0 for 1.
Votto's always up there. Tommy Malone up in the left hand or up in the bullpen. It's like Votto's always thinking up there.
Pulled toward the middle. That's a base hit. So Votto's on base for the 2nd time tonight. And the Reds have their 4th hit against Lugo, a 1-out single. So I guess my question is, if you're Terry Collins, do you accept what your eyes have seen, which is that start after start, this is the point at which Lugo has lost it, and just take him out? Or do you try and make him push through it at this point, figuring maybe he can overcome it at some point?
I wouldn't push him through. If your thought is that he's got a compromised elbow and it's causing him not to get through the 3rd part of the lineup, then as soon as the first sign of trouble, I'd make sure I had someone else in there.
That's why they have Malone up. Question is, how much rope does Lugo get here? Facing Adam Duvall, who he's handled twice by pitching inside. He goes away with the slider, and it's 2-0. It's 1-1. It's hard to tell sometimes with Lugo when his velocity is down, because he does vary the speed on his fastball so much.
It's not that he loses velocity on his fastball. He loses the spin rate on his breaking pitches. That's the problem.
That's driven to left. Nimmo coming on, and he makes the catch. He's going to throw back to first, but Votto arrives back safely. So 2 line drive outs in the inning, sandwiching the base hit by Votto, and Lugo fortunate to have 2 out and a runner at first.
Well, you can always go that route too.
Use the 7 gloves.
Yeah.
Well, line drives to Nimmo have been a good bet for the Mets all night, starting with the first batter of the game, when Nimmo made a diving catch to rob Phillip Ervin. So now it's Scooter Gennett, who had a base hit to right his last time up. He's 1 for 2.
You know, people always talk about arm speed as far as throwing the ball 95 plus. You have to have the arm speed to spin the ball up there too.
Well, I guess the question then is going to be with Seth. Will he be able to rehab that elbow enough in the off season so that he can get deeper into games effectively next year, or is this the way it's going to be until that elbow at some point blows and he's going to have Tommy John surgery?
You know, he's highly effective one time through the lineup. I would think about moving forward that he's exactly what Keith said. He's your swing man, and he's a guy out of the bullpen in case, especially early in the season, when your pitchers are only going, 90 pitches, 6 innings, 5 innings at the max.
Well, if that were to be the case, if that were the plan for Lugo, it would be yet another reason for Sandy Alderson to do what he was talking about earlier this week, and that is get an innings eater, a veteran pitcher, to join the rotation. Because there is so much uncertainty about the Mets starters going forward. Good fastball by Lugo, threw it by Gennett, 1-2. One-two coming, and it's up and away, 2-2.
You know, people talk all the time about your stuff is what gets you to the major leagues. Well, it does, but there's been so many roadblocks to Lugo's career. He's got some toughness that other guys don't have.
To start out his career with major back surgery that he had to rebound from. He's 27 years old. He was a 34th round draft pick. Nothing's been handed to him. And the curveball misses to Jeanette. Now it's 3-2, and that looked a little awkward coming out of his hand.
That's that spin rate I'm talking about. It just, that's a lazy breaking ball. When he's in the first or second inning, you really see it snapping.
So now Votto will be running. Smith plays behind him. 3-2, 2 out. And Jeanette takes the breaking ball. Strike 3 call. Got him looking at the slider. 4th strikeout of the night for Lugo. And he muscles his way through the 6th inning. Line drives to Nimmo. Home runs by Nimmo and Reyes. 4-0 Mets. Go in this series both on Pix 11 tomorrow night and Sunday. Ronnie will be absent, but he'll be there in Chicago for the 3 games at Wrigley Field next week.
Can't wait for the night games in Wrigley. It's my favorite.
And 3 in Atlanta, and then the Mets are scheduled to finish that trip with 3 in Miami starting on the 18th. It remains to be seen whether that will happen. Cody Reed, the left-hander, in to pitch for the Reds as we go to the 6th.
See his numbers. Only 7 games, spent a lot of the time in AAA. He was promoted to the Reds after the Louisville season ended. Bespeckled one.
Travis d'Arnaud drives his first pitch to right center, slicing away from Irvin. That'll go up against the wall. So d'Arnaud, who has been driving the ball to right field consistently on this homestand, has another extra base hit the other way.
Sinker out over the plate, not even really a sinker, just kind of a runner away. Goes right with it. As Gary mentioned, he's been doing that lately.
10 at bats on this homestand, 4 extra base hits, all of them to right and right center. And now Travis Tyrone, who drilled his first big league home run, his first time up tonight. Takes a strike.
Reed started the season with the Reds, was sent down to Louisville. He led the International League. I can't believe they put this in their notes. In walks, hit batters, and wild pitches.
No.
Yeah, they put it in the notes.
It's like the Triple Crown.
Wow.
At the big league level, he's walked 15 batters in 14 innings. So it's all of a piece. Cody Reed, who went to high school in Horn Lake, Mississippi. That's grounded foul outside third.
Horn Lake.
Then went to Northwest Mississippi Community College in Senatobia, Mississippi. Memphis, which is just a few miles from Mississippi, is where he was born.
Okay.
Driven out to right center. Off the bat of Tyrone. Back in the gap. Schebler, and it's off the fence. Can't catch it cleanly off the wall. Darno had gone back to tag, so he goes to third and has to stop there.
Good Lord.
So back-to-back doubles, but the Mets don't get a run out of it because Darno figured the ball was going to be caught and went back to tag.
Tyrone having his breakout game, Keith.
Very nice to see that from Tyrone, who has struggled. And I haven't got much of a comment on this one.
Wow. Mets settle for second and third and nobody out. Dominic Smith, the batter. The infield comes in. And Dom takes below the knees, ball one.
It's hard not to score on a double from second when you're on second.
Well, especially when the ball's mishandled coming off the wall by the right fielder.
It's a tough one.
And the fastball taken low, and now it's 2-0. Smith is 0 for 1 tonight, a walk and a strikeout, 2 for 14 against left-handers. So Reed greeted rudely by back-to-back two-base hits, both well struck. And there's a better breaking ball. 2-1 to Smith. Amir Garrett went 5 innings, allowed 4 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 3 home runs. Now 22 home runs allowed in 63 in the third inning. Ouch. Another good slider by Reed, and it's 2-2. Gavin Cicchini waiting on deck. And Smith wouldn't chase that one. 3-2. And Dom goes down swinging on the slider. So Reed has his first out. Let's check in with Eamon McEnany for a game break brought to you by your Tri Honda dealers. Thanks, Eamon. Odubel Herrera is a really interesting player because he has hit. He's got a 20-game hitting streak right now. Gavin Cicchini gets an intentional walk, but he can drive you crazy sometimes.
A converted infielder to the outfield, and I hear a lot of talk about how well he plays in the outfield. I still think he struggles, but that's just the games I've seen, I guess, or the one I just saw there.
So after the intentional walk to Cicchini, Mets have the bases loaded and 1 out for Matt Reynolds, who has flied out and struck out tonight. Darno, Tyrone, and Cicchini the base runners, and Reynolds takes well outside from Reed, ball 1. Well, the newest Met, Phillip Evans, is out on deck to pinch hit for Seth Lugo, so looks like Lugo is coming out after 6 scoreless innings. Was able to escape the 6th despite a couple of hard hit balls. And Reed gets a generous strike call, and it's 1-1.
I know sometimes spring trainings meld into each other, but Evans was outstanding in spring training this year. Little baseball classic, he got to play a lot.
Reynolds hits a double play ball. Jeanette's going to come home with it, and the high throw, he came off the plate, and the run scores.
Why would he not try to turn two?
It looked like he had every chance to turn the double play by way of second, but he elected to go for the force at the plate. His high throw pulled Barnhart off the plate, and that enables d'Arnaud to score to make it 5-0.
Boy, this is just a poor play by Jeanette. Even if he makes the good throw, it's a poor choice.
Good call by Dan Bellino, right on top of it.
Now the official score says no error. They're going to just say fielder's choice, and now they just corrected it.
Yeah.
E5.
It is
E4.
E4.
Please.
So fielder's choice E4, that is the correct call, and should be no RBI as a result.
Geez, Jeanette was playing not even in tighter than double play depth. He was playing halfway.
So this is the first big league plate appearance for Phillip Evans, and he gets to bat with the bases loaded. Evans, who was the Eastern League batting champion last year, hit .279 in AAA this year with 11 home runs. And he swings and fouls away the fastball, 2-1. Evans, 24 years old, Carlsbad, California. 15th round draft pick by the Mets out of high school in 2011. He's a guy who can play all over the infield. 5'10", 223 pounds. It's an interesting physique for a middle infielder. But he's played a lot of shortstop in the minors, some second and third as well. He's ahead of the count, 3-1 with the bases full. And Evans hits one toward the middle, caught by Jeanette, and they get the double play to retire the side. A bullet off the bat of Evans, but he lines into the 4-6 double play to end the inning. Mets get a run on Jeanette's error, and then he snags the liner to turn 2, 5-0 Mets. Down to Hackenberg. Will rookie safety Jamal Adams make an impact on the field? SNY's NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano has a Jets season preview plus his AFC East projections on the Jets blog featured on SNY.TV. Tommy Milone out of the bullpen for the Mets as we start the 7th.
You see his 12 games, he's appeared in relief. Last time was in relief of Harvey in Houston.
Went 2 2/3 in that outing, so it's been 6 days since he's pitched. Eugenio Suarez struck out twice against Seth Lugo. Good for Lugo tonight. Made it through that 6th inning, which had been a tipping point for him. 6 scoreless innings, 4 hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts.
I mean, that was, you know, he ran out of gas a little bit in the last inning, but still nice to see him get through 6 scoreless. Still a lot of game to be played, though. Cincinnati with their power.
Left-hand hitter Scott Schebler on deck. Mets keep the bullpen busy behind Milone. And he misses with a changeup, 3-0. Your Mets Power Pitchers of the Week brought to you by East Coast Power and Gas. Since the All-Star break, the Mets have the lowest bullpen ERA in the league. Would you have guessed that?
I would not have.
Paul Sewald's been a big part of that. What a huge, pleasant surprise Sewald has been this year. And there's a fly ball out to right. Tyrone eases over and retires Suarez, 1 away. Now Schebler, biggest play of the game, came in the 4th inning with Schebler up. Mets had a 2-0 lead. Reds had the bases loaded and 2 out, and Schebler pulled a ground ball that appeared headed into right field, and Gavin Cecchini somehow stuck out his glove and snagged the ground ball and threw out Schebler to strand 3. And the curveball inside from Milone, ball 1. He might not have necessarily been looking the ball into his glove, but you know, as long as the ball goes in the glove, the play has been made.
That's right.
He had an idea where that ball was going to bounce.
Easier play for him this time, but he takes his time, almost lost it, but gets the out on Schebler for the 2nd out. Cecchini's a little bit of an adventure out there.
Ball came up. That hit the lip of that grass. He had to rush that throw. Good hustle down the line by Schebler.
Those are things you like to see or notice. You know, you're on a losing ball club. You're in last place. He had a simple ground ball to second base, and Schebler hustling.
Let me tell you about Scott Schebler. You know how we talk about how baseball players specialize at a young age? All sports, it happens now. Scott Schebler in high school in Iowa played 5 sports.
5?
Yeah. In Iowa, they played baseball in the summer rather than in the spring. So in the springtime, he played soccer and ran track, and he also played football and basketball. 5 sports in high school.
It's a lot of letters. Do you still give letters out, you think? You know, letters for playing on the varsity?
Well,
on your block jacket.
Letter sweater.
Letter sweater.
Cross bats. Football. Basketball.
Now, do you put multiple letters on the same sweater or jacket, or do you get multiple jackets?
We had the block C, it was called. Cappuccino High School.
Right.
Big C. Green jacket. Gold C. And then you had the little underneath. You had the cross bats. Football. And they were underneath. And then if you got 200 and something points because whatever varsity, then you got a gold C. That's huge.
Did you have a gold C?
I was very medaled.
You were like a general. You had the salad on your chest.
Yes, I did.
Really, your high school was named Cappuccino?
Can you believe it?
It's before cappuccino was such a big deal.
No, why? If I read someone sent me the history. It was Cappuccino monks were there before in that area, and I think the monastery was where the high school was.
Have you felt compelled your whole life to order a cappuccino when you go to get your coffee in the morning?
Well, I've been known to do that. We were the Mustangs too, the Cappuccino Mustangs.
Barnhart breaks his bat, flies one shallow center. Cecchini goes out to get it, and that retires the side. Milone gets him out 1-2-3 in the top of the 7th. Stretch time, 5-0 New York. Wrigley Field when the Mets begin their series against the defending world champion Cubs. Coverage begins 7 o'clock Tuesday night on SNY. Tonight's starters brought to you by People's United Bank. Outstanding effort by Seth Lugo, 6 scoreless innings. Amir Garrett gave up 3 home runs, 4 runs over 5 innings. In his first start back in Queens, where he went to college, he pitch cast.
Well, the 94-mile-an-hour fastball that he got ahead of, and this one, out of the strike zone, a little breaking ball that stayed in the middle of the plate, but Reyes went down and got it.
So Reyes with a chance for his second career 3-home run game. He's hit 2 right-handed. Now he'll bat left-handed against Ariel Hernandez, and the fireballer misses low for ball 1.
Well, just see the catcher Barnhart was like, wait a minute, first fastball, you bounce it. 12 games, 4 stints, different stints with the Reds. Southern League All-Star, throws hard, commands an issue.
13 walks and 16 big league innings this year.
Diamond in the rough, a lot of them. But on the big league level and today, a lot of them learn the big league level instead of down AAA.
Reyes' 3-home run game came 11 years ago, August 15th, 2006 in Philadelphia. And there's the curveball from Hernandez, had him tied in a knot, 2-2.
Hit 19 home runs, I believe, that year for the Mets.
And he's got a dozen this year, and I don't think anybody had that on their play chart when the year began. Nimmo on deck, then Lagares for the Mets in the 7th. Another fastball that Barnhart had to lunge for, 3-2. Cody Reed worked an inning in relief, an unearned run on 2 hits, and now Ariel Hernandez, 25-year-old from the Dominican Republic, working in the 7th. And Reyes goes after the high fastball for the first out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Budweiser. Look to the Budweiser team at Citi Field this season for your chance to be the Budweiser fan of the game and win unique prizes just like these lucky winners. Must be 21 or over. Or that lucky winner. Here's Brandon Nimmo. He's been on base 2 more times tonight. Has that on base percentage up to .422. That is a gaudy number. Tonight, Brandon has walked and singled, and both of those were against the left-hander, Amir Garrett.
Well, you think when you got a more formidable lineup with Cespedes back, I mean, Nimmo with the on-base percentage is someone that you have to consider to lead him off if he's going to have this kind of on-base percentage. He's got speed. He can steal a base. He provides energy. You want him at the top of the order.
The interesting part about this is if he keeps going the way he's been going, how do you go into the offseason? Do you go into the offseason looking for an outfielder, knowing that you might not have Conforto at the beginning of the year, or do you say, okay, we have Cespedes, we have Lagares, we have Nimmo, maybe we're set? It's a hard call, right?
It's a hard call. Conforto right now.
And you know you're going to get Conforto back at some point, but you don't know when.
Yep.
And you don't know at what level of strength. Is he going to be the same hitter that he was before he got hurt, or will it take him some time?
And you've got Lagares, who you've seen over the years now enough. I mean, is there a change, or is he going to be exposed playing every day? Could you platoon these 2 guys? What's wrong with that?
Jeanette in front of the ground ball, and he gets Nimmo by a stride, 2 away. I think those are all very interesting questions, and the uncertainty about Conforto, I think, makes it that much more difficult. If you had some kind of idea of what the rehab was going to be like, when he was going to come back, and at what level he was going to come back, it would be easier to plan. But I think they really don't know, because this is such an unusual injury.
And I would love to see Lagares and Nimmo find success, because they bring energy, they hustle, and they run out balls, they can steal, they can take the extra base,
and it provides a speed that's needed on this ball club. And boy, if they can find the bat and be consistent, the two of them would be a big plus in this ball club.
You know, the rest of baseball, when you look at the teams that are going to the postseason, I use one word, the athleticism. That's what those teams have.
Well, it's certainly something the Mets were missing for most of this year. Lagares blasts one to deep center field. Going back is Irvin onto the warning track. He'll have room to make the catch, and that retires the side. So Lagares, who homered last night, makes a bid, comes up shy, and we go off to the 8th at Citi Field with the Mets up 5-0.
We've had trouble all road trip with this camera, and I'm just really thrilled. And this camera is so swift. No!
We're bringing that back.
Everything I
Must be
touch.
September.
How did that happen? Kurt, it's not coming out of my paycheck.
In 12 years working with you, Keith, that may be my favorite moment of them all.
Well, that was Mr. DeMarsico that pulled a rabbit out of his hat there.
Paul Sewald into pitch. Former Rutgers football player Patrick Kivlahan is the pinch hitter.
Well, Sewald, you see his numbers. He's been really a workhorse for this pen all season long. Well, as soon as he came up.
Had a rough outing his last time out against the Phillies. Gave up a couple of hits in 2/3 of an inning. Kivlahan, a real success story. Guy didn't play much baseball in college. More known as a football player with the Scarlet Knights. What did he play, 1 year for Rutgers?
So they have a football player, didn't play a lot of baseball. The starting pitcher was a basketball player, didn't play a lot of baseball.
Got to look under every rock, Ronnie.
That's right.
I mean, you know, you didn't pitch much before your last couple of years in college.
And then once they figured out I couldn't hit much, that's when I became a pitcher.
Pretty good one.
Yeah.
Kivlahan takes strike 3 called, and Sewald has a strikeout to start his outing. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. Last read before Joey Votto to win MVP was Barry Larkin, wasn't it?
That's what I had. There we go.
You'd be right.
He was perfect for that carpet. He was just so quick.
Cincinnati born and bred.
Right.
Played his whole career with the Reds. Barry's brother Byron was a great basketball star in Cincinnati at Xavier, and still does the color commentary on Xavier's radio broadcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And does a fabulous job doing that. 1-1 to Phillip Ervin, who's gone 0 for 3. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night after the post game. Football, hockey at Citi Field, baseball. So you've got hockey coming to Citi Field in the Winter Classic. You've got the Yankees coming to Citi Field next week to play the Reyes in their games moved because of the hurricane. Broken back grounder, skimming along the line. Reynolds with the bare hand pickup. Too late to get Ervin. Well, the barrel of the bat wound up in left field, but the ball skittered only about 50 feet. And Ervin has an infield hit.
The bat was headed for Reyes. Seawald got all in that kitchen.
Oh, geez, I'll say he got deep.
Ball started foul. Watch where the bat goes. Reyes.
You didn't know whether to go left or right. It's hard to play the spin on the bat. Don't know whether it's a draw or a fade.
That's right. Let's get out of Dodge.
1 out and 1 on. Here's Jose Peraza. That's the 5th Cincinnati hit of the night. They've all been singles for this home run oriented team. Peraza has one of the 5 hits, a single to right field in the 4th. And that's a potential double play ball. Reyes with the flip. Cicchini with the turn. Not in time. Ervin came in hard.
That's a rarity today.
Looked like a clean slide.
Reyes could have taken this one by himself, but opts to give it to Cicchini. That's a clean slide.
Did he start in time according to the new rules, or was it late?
Oh gosh, please.
Yeah, he started in time.
Yeah,
that was fine.
It's a nice slide.
That is the first time I've seen a second baseman get taken out this year with the new rules.
Well, Terry Collins, I believe, is going to ask the umpires to review this one. Or is he just going to take his pitcher out of the game? Let's see.
Yeah.
So they are going to go to the headsets. And Terry will wait to take his pitcher out of the game. He got Votto coming up, so he's going to want to bring Blevins in to face him. But first he wants to see if the inning's over before he makes the pitching change, because if the double play is called, then the inning's over.
He didn't slide past the bag. That's a pop-up slide.
We saw him yesterday with a pop-up slide. Now Terry's within the rules to have the umpires take a look at it, but if this is called a double play,
if anything,
the sign of the apocalypse is coming.
There's no way, because the rule is you have to slide before you get to the base, which he did.
Yep.
You have to go straight into the base, which he did, and you have to be able to keep contact with the base, which he did.
Yes.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. But Terry's got nothing to lose by issuing the challenge or asking the umpires to use a crew chief review, which is what this is.
This is what you're always critical about, is that it's an automatic. I mean, this is nothing wrong with this slide.
Nope.
So it's probably a double play.
Well, in the replay center, it's Ted Barrett's crew and Brian Gorman's crew who have to figure this one out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Ervin upending Cicchini. He stayed within the rules, and indeed,
my goodness,
the call stands. So it's a 6-4 force play for the second out, and now Terry will proceed to make the pitching change and bring in the left-hander to face Joey Votto. And Blevins will come into the game. Called to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 5-0 Mets in the 8th. We'll be right back. Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Best save of the night by Eugenio Suarez. Jerry Blevins in to pitch to Joey Votto. And a first pitch fastball for a strike.
Well, Jerry's numbers probably, well, not probably, easily the most consistent reliever for the Mets all season long.
Last pitched on Monday, a 1-2-3 inning against the Phillies. Votto's 1 for 5 against Blevins in his career. Joey's been on base twice tonight with a walk and a single. Pulled toward the hole. That's a base hit for Votto, and he's on base for the third time. Peraza pulls in at second. So Votto 2 hits and a walk tonight, and the Reds have 2 men on.
Didn't get the curveball away enough. That's too good a hitter right here. Can't make a mistake to Votto. Breaking ball. Down, but not away enough.
So now Blevins will face Adam Duvall, who's 0 for 3 tonight and 0 for 6 in this series. But a very dangerous hitter. 31 home runs this year after 33 last year. And who was a value prospect in the Giants organization, but they finally gave up on him, and the Reds have been the beneficiaries. Curveball outside to Duvall, ball 1.
The Giants spend the last 2 years looking for some offense from their left fielders.
Well, they traded Duvall at the deadline 2 years ago to get Mike Leake for the last 2 months of that season. And Duvall blossomed in Cincinnati. Curveball in for a strike, 1-1.
I mean, he's really put 2 of the same seasons together. 33 and 103 last year, home runs and RBIs. 31 and 94 this year. He's on the same pace.
Only issue with him, of course, is the strikeouts. 150 this year, but he has more RBIs than any National League outfielder the last 2 years. So he has been productive. Peraza at second, Votto at first with 2 out.
Nice to be in that ballpark too, and not in San Francisco.
One and 1 to Duvall, and the curveball fouled off. Hansel Robles getting loose. Blevins up in the count, 1-2. And he comes inside to Duvall, 2-2. Seth Lugo, 6 scoreless innings. Tommy Malone worked a 1-2-3 7th. Paul Sewald faced 3 batters, gave up a hit. And now Blevins trying to finish off this top of the 8th. That's at a shutout victory against the Reds the last time they faced them in Cincinnati. Michael Lorenzen and Luke Farrell, John Farrell's son, up in the bullpen. On the outside corner, got him looking. And Blevins takes care of Duvall to end the inning. Reds strand 2. Mets lead 5-0 in the 8th. Take them with you. Watch every SNY Mets game on the go on any device all season long with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just download the NBC Sports app or visit SNY.TV, your new home for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Driver on the majors presented by Audi. We mentioned the Michael Taylor Inside the Park Grand Slam. Nats up 10-7 on the Phillies. The Indians trying for their 16th straight win. They've got the longest winning streak since Oakland won 20 in a row in 2002. And the Brewers, who've lost 3 straight after getting swept by the Reds, trying to make up some ground on the Cubs. They're 5 games behind.
First time I ever heard Luke Farrell's name, his dad, John Farrell, told me he was a pitcher at Northwestern. Second time I heard his name, he started a game for Kansas City this year that his dad attended. Picked up from waivers by the Cincinnati Reds.
And now his second appearance for Cincinnati. Travis d'Arnaud, the batter, facing Farrell in the 8th, and he takes a fastball for a strike. d'Arnaud drove a double to right center and scored a run in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Travis Tyrone on deck, then Dominic Smith. And the curveball misses from Farrell. A ball and a strike. Now, if I remember this correctly, when Luke Farrell made his big league debut with the Royals earlier this year, did the Red Sox let John Farrell miss a game to go watch Luke pitch?
Yes, he did. And I think, you know, all the old timers, of course, eyes rolled. But yeah, he was given permission to go and watch his son because he knew he was going to start, I think, the second game of that doubleheader. He was a 26 player.
A debut.
Debut.
Yeah. Knocked out.
I don't have an issue with that.
Really? Major League manager missing his own team's game?
Let the bench coach take over. I have no issue.
No, they're still in first place.
I'm very conservative, but I trick you once in a while.
Interesting. Schebler makes the catch one away. I mean, there was a time when players were not allowed to leave their team to attend the birth of their children.
That's right.
Forget about going to watch their kids play a baseball game.
I understand. I left the Cardinals for the birth of my first daughter, Melissa. I got home. Sue had the baby. I was there. I left. But I went back to New York. But she had a big family in St. Louis, so she had family support. She wasn't there all by her lonesome.
I was surprised by it, and I was surprised that it happened. But baseball has changed in so many ways.
Well, we see it with managers, coaches missing games to attend their kids' graduations.
That's right.
That's become normal. This was just another step in that direction.
All these things are new normal. Some of them are really, really good. Like, you know, the concussion programs that they have, and you can go on a concussion deal. Oh, there's a lot of stuff that are trying to. Look at the little guy asleep.
Oh, we're listening to the music.
No, just like noise canceling.
Oh, yes.
Check swing grounder by Tyrone.
Little tender ears.
Well, you know, it's pretty loud in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Especially when the music blares.
Sure. I like that idea. Oh,
sleep,
sweet.
baby, sleep.
Oh.
They're so cute when they're sleeping, Ronnie.
Yes, I know that for a fact.
Maybe they got our broadcast on there.
Put you right to sleep.
Every time.
That was what I thought.
Here's Dominic Smith, who's 0 for 2 and a walk. Facing a right-hander for the first time tonight. And he fouls one away. This day of baseball history presented by Empire City Casino. 1996, Todd Hundley hit his 40th home run of the year, en route to 41 that year, which is the Mets club record. It was later tied by Carlos Beltran. Got the record off Greg McMichael, if I remember correctly. Up the middle, off the leg of Farrell. Caroms out to Suarez, makes the bare hand play, not in time. Smith has an infield hit, and Farrell's going to have a bruise. And we'll see if he's okay. He waves them away, says, I'm fine.
But
pitching coach Mac Jenkins isn't going to buy it, and they'll come out with the trainer and have a look.
Did it get him in the back of the leg? His follow through.
Oh! Knee.
Right, the inside of the knee.
I thought it got him on the shin, or either he may have got the back of his calf. Let's see. Yep, they might have got the bone, the shin bone, below the knee. You agree?
I think back of the calf, your original diagnosis, doctor, was correct.
That was a bullet. Jeez.
Well, second time tonight that a Reds pitcher has had to throw warm-ups to convince his manager that he's able to stay in after tweaking a leg. Amir Garrett got a cramp in his calf apparently and stayed in. And Luke Farrell takes a shot off his shin and he'll stay in.
If Luke is anything like his dad, he's tough as nails, because John Farrell was tough as nails when he was a pitcher.
Michael Lorenzen will go back to work in the Reds bullpen. So it's an infield hit for Cicchini. He's on base for the second time tonight. Here's Cicchini, who's 0 for 2 in a walk. Smith with the infield hit, and Cicchini goes after a breaking ball, 0-1. Mets tonight trying for their third straight win. In each of the first two, the Mets starting pitcher got the win. Zellman 2 nights ago against the Phillies. Harvey last night against the Reds. The last time the Mets won 3 straight games with a starter earning a win in all 3. As Cicchini drives one out to left center and over comes Givaldi again. Last time that happened was June. Well, we're in September now. 3 more outs to get. We go to the 9th. 5-0 New York. Sunday before the Jets-Bills opener, head to SNY for the debut of the only Jets-dedicated pregame show on TV. Join Jonas Schwartz, Ray Lucas, Willie Colon, Mike Westhoff, Eric Coleman, Janae Coakley, a cast of thousands for up-to-the-minute news and analysis leading up to kickoff on the Jets pregame show. Premieres Sunday at noon only on SNY.
Okay.
Jerry Blevins got the last out in the 8th, stays on to start the 9th against the left-hand hitting Scooter Gennett, who's 1 for 3 tonight. We've got 2 lefties due for the Reds here in the 9th, Gennett, and then after Eugenio Suarez, you've got Scott Schembler. So perhaps Blevins will be asked to pitch the whole inning. And the curveball dunked over short, a base hit for Gennett. And the Reds get the leadoff man on in the 9th. Gennett's second hit of the night. And the second hit allowed in 3 batters by Blevins, both the left-hand hitters.
Nice hitting by Scooter. Taking that curveball the other way.
7 hits now for the Reds, all singles. And here's Suarez, who's gone 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a flyout, 0 for 7 in the series. And A.J. Ramos is going to get to work in the bullpen. Ramos worked an inning in a non-save situation last night. Only threw 13 pitches. And Suarez takes the fastball inside. Blevins has worked as much as an inning and 2/3 this year. So far he's gotten just 1 out. And the curveball swung and missed by Suarez, 1-1. Well, they've gone to the 9th in Cleveland. Indians 5, Orioles nothing. As Cleveland goes for 16 straight wins.
So Clevenger did pitch a good game.
Again.
Wow.
He's been doing that just about every time out. They all have.
Yep.
6 scoreless for Clevenger today.
They've been so good they put Danny Salazar in the bullpen. And that talented right arm. Trevor Bauer's had a breakout year for them. I think he's got what, 15 wins?
And they've got, you know, some of the usual suspects in their lineup, but they've also got Yandy Diaz, who has come up and he's taken over as their number 3 hitter with Kipnis out of the lineup. And he's been terrific. And Blevins misses inside, buying himself some trouble behind on Suarez 3-1 with Schebler on deck. And you can see how this is going down for Terry Collins. He'll get Blevins through Schebler, and then we'll probably see Ramos. Jeanette at first and nobody out. And that's pulled down to third, off the glove of Reynolds and into left field. Jeanette will stop at second. Looked like a surefire double play ball if Reynolds snags it, but it went off the end of his glove, and the Reds have the first 2 men on in the 9th.
Another bullet right here. Not much time to react here. Opts to Olay. That ball came up around chin high.
Well, they scored a base hit, but that's certainly a play I'm sure Matt thought he should have made. So now Schebler with first and second and nobody out. Things get a little more interesting here in the 9th. Back-to-back hits off Blevins to start the inning. Jerry's faced 4 batters, giving up 3 hits. Now we'll get Schebler, who's 0 for 3 today. Schebler has a hit in his only career at bat against Blevins. And the curveball stays inside. Jerry having trouble with that curveball.
His fastball had better control of it than his breaking ball tonight, which is unusual. Usually has that curveball on a string.
3 infielders stacked on the right side against Schebler. And the curveball fouled off. 1-1.
Schebler was the player that the Reds kind of chose to play right field and gave them the option of trading Jay Bruce to the New York Mets last year.
They got Schebler when they traded Todd Frazier away. They got Jose Peraza in that deal as well. It was a 3-way trade with the Dodgers and the White Sox. And a fastball strike, and Blevins gets ahead 1-2.
Start to guess with Jerry Blevins. You're going to lose most of the time.
One-two coming, and the curveball struck him out. 1 man down. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on WB Mason Postgame Live with Gary Apple and Jim Duquette. Thanks, Gary. We do nothing but ice cold takes here. Here's Tucker Barnhart, who's 1 for 3. He turns around about right-handed, hitting just .224 as a right-hand batter, .276 lefty. So this works for Terry Collins to leave his left-hander in the game. Jeanette at second, Suarez at first with 1 out. And the fastball on the corner, 0-1. Zach Cozart is out on deck to pinch hit. So I would imagine, barring a game-ending double play, this might be the last batter for Blevins. With Ramos up and just pawing at the bullpen mound. Curveball wraps around the plate. It's 1-1 to Barnhart. Reds have left 7 runners on base tonight. Their biggest opportunity came in the 4th when they loaded the bases with 1 out, but Lugo struck out Suarez and got Schebler on a grounder that Cicchini made a wonderful play on, and they've been held off the board ever since. And Barnhart takes the curveball outside, 2-1.
Good patience shown so far by Barnhart, despite that .220 average from the right side.
22 pitches for Blevins. He's thrown as many as 30 in an outing this year. And that curveball misses, and now it's 3-1. So he's just not able to command that curve the way he normally does. One more base runner, and it would create a save situation for Ramos.
With a 5-run lead, you have to come after him. A .220 hitter on the right side, throw something away, and hope he hits a fly ball to Lagares.
Jeanette at second, Suarez at first with 1 out. 3-1 to Barnhart. And he takes a strike, 3-2. Three-two coming. Line center field, base hit. Jeanette to third. He'll be held up there, and the Reds have the bases loaded with 1 out. 3 hits in the inning, 4 in a span of 6 batters against Blevins. Zach Cozart announced into the game as the pinch hitter, and Terry Collins will make the change.
Well, Blevins tried to come inside twice on the 3-1 count, on the 3-2 count, didn't get it in enough, and Barnhart will a bullet up the middle.
So that creates a save opportunity for A.J. Ramos in a 5-0 game with the tying run on deck. Blevins will exit. Ramos will come in and bid for the save. 5-0 Mets in the 9th. dealers, Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Well, A.J. Ramos perfect in 6 save opportunities as a Met.
One of only 3 relievers that has had 25 or more saves the last 3 seasons, and he has a chance here.
Jeanette, Suarez, and Barnhart the base runners. Bases loaded, 1 out. Zach Cozart the pinch hitter, 1 for 4 last night. And Ramos starts him off with a slider. It's lifted to left. This will get a run in, but Nimmo is under it. Tagging at third is Jeanette. He'll come in with the Reds' first run, but now the Reds are down to their final out. It's 5-1.
Oh boy.
Ramos has never allowed a run against the Reds in his career. 18 1/3, now 18 2/3 with that out. Run charge to Blevins. And he has 1 more out to get to earn the save.
He got away with a hanger right there. Cozart got underneath that one.
Phillip Ervin, the final hope for the Reds, 1 for 4 tonight. Had a broken bat infield hit his last time up. And makes up for the one he was robbed of in the first inning when Nimmo made a diving catch to take an extra base hit away. Ramos looking for his 27th save and his 7th as a Met. And Ervin takes the slider off the plate for ball 1. Documented it the other night that Ramos has become such a predominantly breaking ball pitcher over the last couple of years. Throwing his slider over 40% of the time. And another in for a strike, 1-1.
Oh, you know, we spent some of the part of this year talking about how a lot of teams, organizations, players, pitchers have gone to using more of their breaking ball, and boy, it makes sense that that's read by some of these relievers also.
Ervin lifts it to right. This should do it. Tyrone is there waiting. And the ball game is over. Ramos gets 2 outs for the save. Seth Lugo with 6 scoreless innings for the victory, and the Mets win their 3rd in a row behind 2 home runs from Jose Reyes as they beat the Reds 5-1.
Well, even more importantly, 3 straight wins by Mets starting pitching. Gesellman, Harvey, and now Lugo. Lugo having probably his best start of the year. 6 shutout innings. 4 strikeouts and 4 hits.
And Tyrone getting his first major league home run. It's been a struggle for Travis, but hit a big bomb. He also hit a double to right center field, so starting to swing the bat better.
Reyes with 2 home runs. Tyrone with his first. The game summary presented by Infinity. Mets have won 3 straight. Lugo gets his 6th win with 6 scoreless innings as the Mets get their 62nd win of the year. And for every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwell.edu/cats. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $155,000. Every Mets win this year means another opportunity to win amazing prizes from Delta Airlines. Go to sny.tv/Delta Dugout to sign up now. Mets win their 3rd straight as they beat the Reds tonight 5-1. 8 straight losses for the Reds now at Citi Field. We'll come back with more from Flushing in a moment.